All right, few things are more British than a cup of tea. But Britain was brought to a boil this week over a suggestion by an American chemist on how the classic cup might be improved.
We asked our own Earl Grey, Malcolm Brabant, to take a look into this brouhaha.
Is nothing sacred? The beverage that for centuries has sustained this nation through wars and other crises has been assaulted in the name of science by an American academic. As newspaper columnist Quentin Letts harumphs, salt is for tequila, not the traditional British cuppa.
I'm not a complete layer down of the law when it comes to tea, but I did try the addition of salt and making tea with hot milk, and I must say it was a thoroughly unpleasant experience. It was like the worst sort of pre-operation laxative that you could drink.
Not since the Boston Tea Party 250 years ago has Britain's national drink suffered such an indignity. So much so that, tongue-in-cheek, the US Embassy in London issued a reassuring statement that salt in tea was not official American policy and would not affect the special relationship.
Do you realise how much trouble you've caused?
I am beginning to understand how much trouble I've caused. I had no intentions of causing a diplomatic incident, but I woke up yesterday morning to find that the US Embassy was weighing in on my science.
Michelle Francel is a professor of chemistry at Bryn Mawr College in Pennsylvania.
It begins with an 8th century Chinese manuscript called Book of Tea by a tea master, Lu Yu, who recommended adding a bit of salt to the tea water. So I wondered what the chemistry literature had to say. Turns out the coffee chemists know that the sodium ions in the salt block the bitter receptors, so it makes the tea a little bit less bitter.
To gauge more British reaction, we tracked down some traditional tea purveyors in the open-minded city of Brighton.
No, definitely not. Not for me.
Manager Jay Fry normally takes his tea black and straight. Tea bag, hot water, no messing.
I thought it'd be a lot more saltier. It seems to kind of blend with the tea a little bit. It kind of adds a little tingle to your tongue, like saltiness, but it's not very intense at all. It's pretty spot on by itself, I think. I don't think it needs to be changed.
We then touched base at a specialist store where Deputy Manager Elise Fishpool Grove reinforced the need to use boiling, not lukewarm water, as some Americans do. Sacrilege.
I think you don't need to add salt to your tea. I think if you're brewing it correctly, it doesn't need to happen.
So could the science change Elise's preconceptions? What do you think?
No.
This is the kind of tea I normally drink, English breakfast. I usually have it with milk without sugar, but I'm going to do what the professor says and just put a couple of grains of salt in, not a teaspoonful, as some Brits have misunderstood. I feel like I'm a traitor. It's not too bad. Let's acknowledge that he was heavy-handed with the salt.
I'm just a mouldy old Englishman who, on a quiet day, might put in 1 sugar, but the thought of even putting a few grains of salt just is so counterintuitive, it just fries my mind.
That requires an archetypal British response. Put the kettle on. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Malcolm Brabant in Brighton.
All right, online, you can read more on the science behind making and flavoring tea. That is at pbs.org/newshour.